This past year, we hit 1 million subscribers. We've had a feature with Kxng Crooked. We've had interviews with Cassidy. We've had interviews with Ren. I've been able to meet so many amazing artists. It's been, from a career perspective, one of the greatest years of my life. But personally, it's also been one of the worst years of my life. You know, within a few weeks span, we went from losing my grandfather, who was a father figure to me, to losing my cousin to an overdose, to losing my mother-in-law. And it just felt like we got to a stage where we're surrounded by death. And that's all that we're contemplating and dealing with is grief and trying to recover from all of that. And then you add on personal situations and health situations and things that I haven't even talked about or opened up about on here. And yeah, it's been a fight. It's been a battle. So with these immense highs have come these immense lows. And sometimes you can just feel like you're being torn back and forth, asunder amidst the storm, as everything just thunders and rains around you. And all you're trying to do is stay afloat and just cope. And for me, the song My Time is a perfect reflection of that high, of getting Kxng Crooked, a hip hop legend, an OG on the track with me, of being able to just make some amazing music with him. But then also, I felt like I had something to say. And I had some things that I needed to speak on. And some of the personal griefs and tragedies that I've experienced came out through the song and came out through the themes of that song. Now, you guys know I'm not just an artist. I'm a reactor as well. And I'm happily a part of this reaction community. And anytime I get a chance to try to give back to that community, to support my fellow reactors, well, I'm here for it. And that's a win-win for me. And for me, there's a reaction that I want to check out with you guys and I want to do because I think it's important, because this person is someone who has dealt with addiction. This person has dealt with the same struggles that my cousin dealt with the same situations. So I thought we could watch this together and kind of walk through this one. Now, he's someone that I respect on this YouTube platform. He's a dope artist himself. He's a great reactor too. You know, he is always on that content grind. So right here, right now, we're going to dive into Flawzilla.
So like I said, I'm probably not going to do a full-ass breakdown because I know Knox, Hill, and Crooked, I both do ridiculous shit. So I'll leave the breaking down to someone else. But
that's a compliment.
We're gonna go by. I'm gonna point out the things that stand out to me, and we'll listen to it. We'll just vibe. Let's go.
I will say, I've heard him say this before, and like, he does a really dope job of breaking down my tracks.
The clock's ticking, I stop and listen for oppositions. My thoughts quicken, their cock the biggins, the plot it thickens. Just came from blocks where a lot don't have a pot to piss in. But they don't listen, they gentrify it and profit difference. Extend the distance, who's benefiting from men defenses. These politicians so bet they don't bend for riches. Look there, now they burning bridges while men are drowning in rivers. They wave while they shipping business, but we are down with the fishes. Whoa.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that. I like that right there. Burning bridges, men are drowning. Down, what do you say? What do you say about
distance, who's benefiting from men defenses. These politicians so bet they don't bend for riches. Look there, now they burning bridges while men are drowning in rivers. They wave while they shipping business, but we are down with the fishes. Whoa.
They wave shipping business. Okay. They wave while they're shipping business while we down with the fish. You mean like shipping business out of the country?
Now they burning bridges while men are drowning in rivers.
Imports, exports.
They wave while they shipping business, but we are down with the fishes. Whoa. I'm from a system where the prison's set from pop.
And those of you who called it out, obviously, I know I got Kxng Crooked on the track, right? Kxng Crooked on his Shady Cypher 2.0, right? With the plotted thickens, with that rhyme scheme. Ah to icken. That whole callback in flow is me paying homage to his flow on the Shady 2.0 Cypher scheme. And obviously I went a lot like coarser with my voice. I just felt like sometimes when I do a feature, I know who's going to be on the track. So I incorporate my style, my delivery, the way that I'm writing, the way I'm doing things, because I want there to be a synergy on the track. You know, I want it to just feel natural, like we've always worked together. Like the artist who's featuring like belongs on the track with me. And that's really what I try to achieve with getting Crooked Eye on the track. And shout out to Samad on the production of this, man. Obviously, I love when you take vocal samples and then you cook them into the instrumentation. The female vocalist singing, just cooking that in underneath the mix throughout the beat. I love that. And the clock ticking, like that for me set up the starting line for me. The clock's ticking. Right? I stop and listen for oppositions, the ops versus ops positions out there. So just flipping that immediately, because listen, I know again, I got Crooked Eye on the track. I'm going to have to bring it with the multis. I'm going to have to bring it with the flow switches. I'm going to have to bring it with the wordplay. Like everything is going to have to be pushed to its fullest extent because he is going to push me beyond limits.
These politicians so
And then mending fences versus men's defenses. And if you think about it, like mending fences, that's an important line for me personally, because if a fence isn't mended, anyone can walk through it. And we think that that's a bad thing, but what does a fence do essentially? A fence divides us. So if you think about how politicians always twist words and twist campaigns and, just the way that dialogue and narratives are spun. When you think about somebody bragging about mending a fence, building fences, you go, yeah, all right, he's building fences, right? But when you think about what that fence means, a fence divides. And that's more divide and conquer. So on one hand, you have what seems like it's positive, right? And people applaud it, they get lifted up for it. Typical sort of politicians' words and schemes. But when you think about it underneath, there's something darker to it. There's a different connotation, and it's not as positive and light. So I wanted that juxtaposition of them mending fences. But what's the theme throughout this verse is this divide and conquer mentality. The haves versus the have-nots. And if you're poor, you don't have the same opportunities. You don't get the same educations. You don't get the same chances. Then you get kicked out of your city blocks. It's happening in DC all the time with gentrification, right? And then you talk about, kids not having the same schooling opportunities, the same education opportunities. They're from areas filled with crime, filled with drugs. I mean, the chances of making it out of there are so much less than someone who starts from a different point in life, right? Who starts on the rich end of the spectrum. It's just not the same. We don't all have the same opportunities in life.
You're down with the fishes, what?
Yeah, I like that. I like that right there. Burning bridges, men are drowning. What do you say? What do you say
The
about
distance was benefiting from men defenses. These politicians so bet they don't bend for riches. Look there, now they burning bridges while men are drowning in rivers. They wave while they shipping business, but we are down with the fishes. What?
They wave shipping business. Okay. They wave while they're shipping business while we
Ship literally to a ship overseas, but like shipping it, importing,
Because you
exporting.
mean like shipping business out of the country?
Now they burning bridges while men are drowning in rivers. They wave while they shipping business, but we are down with the fishes. What? I'm from a system where the prison's set from poverty lines. I'm just a product of the products and commodity crimes. There's no peace in the weak, I need a release. The peace in these streets is when they reaching for heat, but me, I'm reaching for shine. I feel like Icarus.
No appease in the weak. I need a release. The peace in these seas. Right there, I kind of speed up the flow. So if you notice, like heat, the key and rhymes are hitting just slightly before the percussion. Like I switch the tempo of my delivery. I try to like speed it up so I get just like a little bit out in front of the beat. Sort of like jazz, you naturally fall behind the beat. So it's the opposite thought process of that with the flows and with the rhyming technique when you just get slightly out in front of it with the delivery and just kind of push the pace in a different direction.
Release the peace in these streets is when they reaching for heat, but me, I'm reaching for shine. I feel like Icarus, a wicked twist. I lit the wick. I'm injured in the devil's grip. On any felt a
Fire. Feel like Icarus. What did he say? I'm reaching for shine. I feel like Icarus. Come on, bro.
there's no peace in the weak.
Icarus flew too close to the sun.
Release the peace in these streets is when they reaching for heat, but me, I'm reaching for shine. I feel like Icarus, a wicked twist. I lit the wick. I'm injured in the devil's grip. On any thought of clicks, I'm triggered. I'm sick of the doubt, so put them fingers on my
Any
head.
thought of clicks? I'm triggered. Like click, click, triggered. Nice. But I think does it mean click?
The devil's grip. On any thought of clicks, I'm triggered.
Hold on. What do you say? While many
I feel like Icarus, a wicked twist. I lit the wick. I'm injured in the devil's grip. On any
fell
thought of
to
clicks,
clicks. Okay. While many fell to clicks, I'm triggered. Okay. Clicks, triggered, clicks, internet, triggered. Also being triggered as a person, but trigger from a gun.
triggered.
Nice.
I'm sick of the doubt, so put them fingers on my head. You'll never figure me out. Don't even count.
And for me, I set it up because I flipped the piece, which it happens a lot in hip hop. Like you flip peace in these streets, like finding peace, P-E-A-C-E, versus like, calling the gun that you're carrying, you call it a piece, right? And you're carrying heat. But for me, I took the heat and the shine. Well, some are reaching for heat, like they're reaching for these pieces because of the violence that surrounds our communities in these underprivileged areas where we're from, right? I'm trying to reach for something different. I'm not reaching for that heat. I'm reaching for shine. And then heat and shine tie in with the sun, right? Icarus flying too close to the sun. And then I keep carrying the Icarus scheme where many fell to clicks, like Icarus falling from the sky, getting too close from the sun, right? Injured in the devil's grip. My vanity, Icarus's vanity, and I feel like I'm falling too, and I'm falling to the vanity of social media. So many fell to clicks, click here online, versus, again, back to the violence lines and the peace lines. Click, you're triggered. People are literally dying from those clicks.
Triggered. Also being triggered as a person, but trigger from a gun.
Triggered, I'm sick of the doubt. So put them fingers on my head, you'll never figure me out. Don't even count.
And then obviously putting figures on someone's head, tying back to the violence versus you'll never figure me out. So just flipping the meaning of figure right there.
Nice.
And then it doesn't even count. Like, you can't count this in terms of figures, in terms of mathematics, or also like it just, you know, the saying, the idiom, it don't count, right? You don't count in this situation.
Put them fingers on my head, you'll never figure me out. Don't even count.
Nice. Put figures on my head, you'll never figure me out. Who's this?
Don't even
Is that Samad Savage singing?
Yeah.
Did he make the beat too? That nigga's a dope producer, bro.
Running, race against the clock, know my time is coming. Losing's one thing that I can't stomach.
Oh, his wings were made of wax too? Even better. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
If it gets the clock, know my time is coming.
Wax getting on the record. Icarus Wings Wax.
Losing's one thing that I can't stomach. If it ain't first place, I don't want it. This can be the best it gets.
There's a double that we didn't put in there. There's a few doubles we didn't put in. Again, I don't want to like break everything down and give everything away because I think that takes away from the intrigue and from people like catching things themselves and the replay value. But one thing I will point out I thought was clever from Samad. Don't want it, but the way that he stretches out the on, don't want it. If it ain't first place, don't want. Getting number one, first place, wanting it versus wanting it.
If it ain't first place, I don't want it. This can be the best it gets. Quick to hush.
This beat switch right here is just nasty. I love how it's like a hook within a hook. Like the first half is taking you one direction with the clock ticking, and then it switches up like true Kanye West kind of fashion for me. Like it just shows the production level of Samad when he switches into the second half of this hook.
I don't want it. This can be the best it gets. Quick to hush a hater.
You hear how the drum kit, everything just like totally switches up right there. It's like a different song almost.
Voices in my head, but I won't let them win. It's my time and it's definite. I will never miss.
Put your rollie in your pocket, the jack is a pocket watching, blow arm robbers to NASA. I walk with a rocket launcher, I awkwardly talk to God.
Walk with a rocket launcher, I awkwardly talk to God. Awkwardly talk to God. Again, he's coming through 5 syllables. I wasn't syllable counting. Obviously, I had a ton of rhyme writing. I had like 5, 6, 7 syllable schemes, but that's what I mean. That's why I came with such airtight rhyme schemes, because I knew that this man was going to punch in right away and just condense the multis immediately.
I'm not a monster, I'm a product of this block shit. Snare, I pop shit.
Him getting snared versus playing off of the snares.
The drum under the chopstick on this Knox shit, catching bodies like a mosh pit. Under the moon while the clock tick, that's a lunatic. You'll get it later, but watch this. Click, click.
Lunatic, under the moon. Nice.
Under the
Yes.
moon while the clock tick, that chopstick on this Knox.
Yes, Flawed. Yes, my man. And listen, one of the greatest things, like to me, a life goal achieved. Like you guys have to appreciate this man was signed to death row. Right? This man walked in hallways with Pac, with just so many West Coast legends and greats. And like, you know, I heard stories that if you wanted to get signed to the label, you had to battle Crooked I. And if you could beat Crooked I in a battle, that's how Suge would sign you. Right? And that's going back to those days. And then obviously there's a lot of fans of Eminem and Shady Records, and we know the Slaughterhouse days, and we know the great things that he did with Slaughterhouse, one of the greatest hip-hop groups of all time. This man is an OG in hip-hop. You know, this man is one of the greatest MCs of all time. It's an absolute honor and a privilege, and I am humbled to have had the chance to have had him on the track, and then for him to drop a fucking line where he goes on this Knox shit, and he's like dropping me, like that's so surreal. That was such a surreal fucking moment when we got that record back from him, and I was like, holy shit, that happened.
That's a lunatic. You'll get it later, but watch this. Click, click.
Lunatic, under the moon. Nice.
Under the moon while the clock tick, that chopstick on this Knox.
Under the moon, clock tick, lunatic. Nice. Pocket watchers. What do you say? What do you say? Jackers are pocket watching. He said, put your watch in your pocket. Jackers are pocket watching. I'll blow a, what do you say? Blast someone in NASA. Rocket launcher. Nice.
Shit, catching bodies like a mosh pit. Under the moon.
Catching bodies like a mosh pit.
Got the drum under the chopstick.
Yeah, and then the snare, drum under the chopstick. Nice.
Yeah,
There
it is.
Like, ba-da-da-da, like, he killed this.
Snare, I pop shit. Got the drum under the chopstick on this Knox shit, catching bodies like a mosh pit. Under the moon while the clock tick, that's a lunatic. You'll get it later, but watch.
Flawed sounds a little bit under the weather. He's like me, man. I'm fighting that off too.
Click, click, pow.
You'll get
the
it later,
nose.
but watch this. Come on, bro. He's bodying.
He sets up the lunatic line, right? Lunatic versus the lunar clock ticking on the moon. But watch this. Pay attention. Watch versus watch this tying back to that line. You'll get it later.
That's a lunatic. You'll get it later, but watch this. Click, click, pow. My time's ticking. My mind's different. Design specific lines. Define lines that rhyme with it. It's scientific. Combine vivid lyrics to make your thoughts travel. Your mind's tripping. A one-of-a-kind ticket to your future self. M said...
Make your thoughts travel. Your mind's tripping. Hold up. This nigga... Hold up, bro.
When you travel, you're going on a trip versus your mind tripping.
They both went in. I'm not even gonna sit here and lie.
But watch this. Click, click, pow. My time's ticking. My mind's different. Design specific.
And yeah, my mind's ticking. Watch this.
Lines, define lines that rhyme with it. It's scientific. Combine vivid lyrics to make your thoughts travel. Your mind's tripping. A one-of-a-kind ticket to your
mind. Combine lyrics that make your mind travel. Your mind's trip or make your thoughts travel. Your mind's tripping. A one-of-a-kind ticket.
Combine vivid lyrics to make your thoughts travel. Your mind's tripping. A one-of-a-kind ticket to your future self. M said lose yourself.
This line. Great line.
Choose yourself. It's mind numbing not to find something to live for. Get your justice from that blind woman. Your time's coming. On God.
Justice is blind.
And that's why we put, you know, the scales of justice there with the blind woman to help represent and visually represent that double from Crooked I, man. It's so dope. I love that line.
Those other people, this time choose yourself. It's mind numbing not to find something to live.
Obviously, Eminem, lose yourself versus literally losing yourself. One of my favorite lines. Like, this man name drops me on a song, has a dope ass Eminem reference and bar on it. Crooked I, thank you so much, man. You serve me just the verse of 2024, in my opinion, man.
Get your justice from that blind woman. Your time's coming. On God.
Race against the clock. No, my time is coming. Losing's one thing that.
Notice how we had to shorten the hook here because this man ran over his verse. I'm not gonna fucking complain. Are you gonna complain when Crooked I gets on your track and runs over your verse? No, we're just gonna adjust. So we cut Samad's verse and just like made it transition more seamlessly into it.
On God.
Race against the clock, no, my time is coming. Losing's one thing that I can't stomach. If it ain't first place, I don't want it. This can be the best it gets. Quick to hush a hater or a pessimist. Voices in my head, but I won't let them win. It's my time and it's definite. I will never miss.
Debit list, no credit fixed where fiends won't fail to misuse. They settled on a corner with magazines, they ain't selling issue. Told them not to meddle with it as the lead excels through tissue. Said that I will never miss. Ironic, I'll forever miss you.
That was disgusting. Hold up.
Thank you, Claude.
Debit list, no credit fixed where fiends won't fail to misuse. They settled on a corner with magazines, they ain't selling this.
Debit, credit, fix, failed to misuse. There's a lot of just sounds that I'm taking and I'm just flipping in different ways. It's not like your standard ABC rhymes. It might go AB, AA, BC, BBA. But yeah, I'm getting scheming on this with the rhymes.
Debit list, no credit fixed where fiends won't fail to misuse. They settled on a corner with magazines, they ain't selling issue. Told them not to meddle with it as the lead excels through tissue. Said that I will never miss. Ironic, I'll forever miss you.
Bro, what? I wish I had the lyrics. Hold up. What did he just say? So,
Look at
drugs.
Deep breath.
He talking about drugs.
Issues, they settled.
Put him in the street. Have you in the street on the corner with magazines, but they ain't selling issues. Told him not to meddle, like meddle with it, but meddle. And then lead excels through tissue. Said that I would never miss. Ironic, I'll forever miss you. Oh, man. Someone said he dedicated this to his cousin who passed away.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And obviously led to the metal bars. Don't meddle with it. Lead excels through tissues. Ironic, I'll forever miss you. Maybe a little bit of a stretch there, but I thought about it when I was writing into that, incorporating, you know, the metal schemes.
Cousin who passed away.
And obviously the magazines, selling issue, magazine issues versus issues, Clips, magazine. Ask Charlie about Clips.
Oh, man.
I will never miss.
Debit list, no credit fixed where fiends won't fail to misuse. They settled on a corner with magazines, they ain't selling issue. Told them not to meddle with it as the lead excels through tissue. Said that I will never miss. Ironic, I'll forever miss.
And Samad on his hook said, you know, I will never miss. So said that I will never miss, you know, playing back to those schemes in the metal and the mag scheme versus we get the flip into miss you.
While you was in a cell, I feel I bailed. All we had was distance. And you took a hit, your liver failed, but the habit didn't. Had your inhibitions. I'm so mad I didn't listen. Life was grabbing my attention. Should have had an intervention. Shit. Breathe, take a hit again. My mind stayed.
Grabbing my attention, had an intervention, flipping those games, but obviously, like, you know,
Was grabbing my attention. Should have had an intervention. Shit. Breathe, take a hit again. My mind stayed at the tip. That shady shit. I hope they miss again. If man invented time.
he got that. He got that off first listen. Let's go.
Cell, I felt I bailed. Come on, bro.
Cell, I feel I bailed. All we had was distance. And you took a hit, your liver failed, but the habit didn't. Had your inhibitions. I'm so mad I didn't listen. Life was grabbing my attention. Should have had an intervention. Shit. Breathe, take a hit again. My mind stayed at the tip. That shady shit. I hope they miss again. If
Mine stayed at the tip. Michigan, tip of the country. Oh, man. And shady.
shit. Breathe, take a hit again. My mind stayed at
What states at the tip? Mine stayed at the tip. Shady shit. Hope they miss again. Miss again.
tip. That shady shit. I hope they
Mine stayed at the tip. That shady shit. I hope they miss again. Oh, man.
had an intervention. Shit. Breathe.
But this is an MC right here. Like, you saw his facial expression. You saw him catch that right away. Catch that flip just like right away. Man's clocked in and he's on
Hit
it.
again. My mind stayed at the tip. That shady shit. I hope they miss again. If man invented time, let's rewind it just a little bit. I'm sick of always feeling like a middleman. When death will take the innocent and life will fill the minutes in these Minutemen who Boston, Massachusetts. Don't cross my passion, lose it. It's real when I pack.
What did he just say?
Life will fill the minutes in these little bit. I'm sick of always feeling like a middleman. When death will take the innocent and life will fill the minutes in these Minutemen who Boston, Massachusetts. Don't cross my passion.
Boston Master? Is that what he just said?
Innocent and life will fill the minutes in these Minutemen who Boston, Massachusetts. Don't cross.
Master.
I mean, who is our true master, right? Song is tying in with time. And, you know, we're all, in a sense, subject to the master of time, which is ironic considering time is our invention. You know, we invented a system to measure and to quantify seconds and minutes and everything like that. And yet, ironically, this invention we've created seems to rule us and dominate our lives and our ways of thinking and being.
And life will fill the minutes in these Minutemen who Boston, Massachusetts. Don't cross.
Master, did he say master you? Oh, master choose it. Who bossed them? Who master choose it? Okay.
A middleman when death
Boston,
will take the innocent
Massachusetts.
and life will fill the minutes in these.
Obviously, listen, if Crooked Eye is going to have his shady shout out, and we all know the situation that just happened with Benzino being from Boston. So I felt like it was a dope time just to throw a little subtle one in there. Boston, Massachusetts bar, flipping that. Who bossed them? Master choose it. But then the Minutemen sets it up, right? Because we're all victim to the minutes. So these Minutemen. But then it's also a shout out. You know, I like my history bars to American revolutionary times. The Minutemen, right? Heavy in Massachusetts, right? And they were ready at a moment's notice, like, you know, ready to respond, fought in the Revolutionary War. So you tie in with the Massachusetts Minutemen who were renowned in colonial times versus like even today, like UMass, shout out to UMass. There's a soccer team called the Minutemen up there in Massachusetts. So there's a lot of tie-ins with that. And then playing into that, like the minutes of the clock versus being Minutemen.
Who master choose it? Okay.
A middleman when death
Boston,
will take the innocent
Massachusetts.
and life will fill the minutes in these Minutemen who Boston, Massachusetts. Don't cross.
Wait, Minutemen too, right? Is that?
Oh, he's
wait,
there.
Minutemen, is that Boston Tea Party type shit? What is that? What,
Yes!
I forget. I know the reference.
I
in
spoke too
school, bro.
soon. Nice one.
Who are the Minutemen? Damn, Siri. Damn, I fucked that up. I fucked that all up. Hold up. The militia and the Minutemen,
Yep.
New England. I knew. Okay, yeah, I forget. I forgot.
I found this on the web for who is the middleman, and I mean New England. Check it out.
Massachusetts. They were conceived in Massachusetts. This man's wildin'. Ah, man.
Man, when death will take.
All right, I'm gonna give you one more layer because shout out to Flawed for catching that too. I spoke too soon. I should have let him go on with the breakdown. Man is so nice with it. But I dropped this on March 5th. Now that was not a coincidence. You guys know I've been dropping things on Thursday normally. Thursday has been my drop day, but with this Kxng Crooked track, I dropped it on Tuesday. Why? Because I'm a fucking madman. I don't make sense in my mind sometimes. I don't know where we go. But on March 5th, way back in the day, was the Boston Massacre. Boston Lines, Minutemen, Revolutionary Bars. maybe I love history too much, but yes, that is why I did it on the Tuesday instead of our normal drop day on a Thursday. I just felt like, oh my God, I know that date. That date's going to be so fitting. Hey, let's just push it up.
Massachusetts. They were conceived in Massachusetts. This man's wildin'. Ah, man.
Man, when death will take the innocent and life will fill the minutes in these Minutemen who Boston, Massachusetts, don't cross my passion, lose it, it's real.
Obviously, the passion of the Christ, don't cross with my passion, don't cross me, crossing my passion with it all. But then Christ ties in with the Israel and, you know, Judaism to Christianity, right? Tying in with that because they don't believe that Christ is the Messiah. Don't cross my passion, lose it. It's real. This is real, a situation. Again, maybe I'm getting too complex with it because I'm diving into that tie-in with things. It's real when I pack the Jews in versus Israel, where the Jews are packed into. We all know what's going on with Gaza and Israel and all of that right now.
Wildin'. Ah, man.
Man, when death will take the innocent and life will...
Also, what I really want to do, if you talk about the flow, like breathe, take a hit again. My mind stayed at the tip. That shady shit. I hope they miss again, right? I slowed it down right there at the flow, and I kind of breathed, and I wanted it to feel like time. You know, sometimes time really slows down for us, especially in death, and sometimes it speeds up too, and it can be so surreal. And you notice, like, I start slow, and then it starts to shift up and shift up and shift up, and then here, don't cross my path and lose it. It's real when I pack the Jews. I'm really accelerating through, so I wanted the time to pick up right there as well.
Ah, man.
Man, when death will take the innocent and life will fill the minutes in these Minutemen who Boston, Massachusetts, don't cross my passion, lose it, it's real when I pack the Jews and you deal with you bastards using it crooked. I'll pass the music, I'm lit when I passion, lose it, it's real when I pack and life will fill
And
the
he said
minutes
cross,
in these
passion,
Minutemen.
passion
Yes.
Christ.
Oh, damn it.
Lose it, it's real when I pack the Jews and you deal with you bastards using it crooked. I'll pass the music, I'm
Hold
lit.
on. My
My
bad.
passion, lose it, it's real when I pack the Jews and you...
Is real when I pack the Jews in. It's real, Jules. I'm going to punch this mic.
Well done, you. Well fucking done. I love it.
That was a fucking bar. That was a fucking bar.
Minutes in these
Made my day.
Minutemen.
It all is. I'm not going to lie. This verse is crazy.
New Boston, Massachusetts, don't cross my passion, lose it, it's real when I pack the Jews and you deal with you bastards using it crooked. I'll pass the music, I'm lit when I'm rapping to it.
You
That's a steak face right
deal
there.
with you bastards using too? Like you're you're using. Oh, man.
Oh, he
Dealers
did it.
Using drugs.
Versus like taking a deal, dealing it the way you deal with situations. You're dealing the drugs out, but you're really using.
Pack the Jews and you deal with you bastards using it crooked. I'll pass the music, I'm lit when I'm rapping
Like
to it.
because dealers are using fiends on top of it. They're using people that they're selling drugs to make money from them. They're using human beings for their own benefit,
Yep.
basically. You deal, but you're using. This man's nasty.
It's real when I pack the Jews and you deal with you bastards using it crooked. I'll pass the music, I'm lit when I'm rapping to it. Breathe.
Running, race against the clock, no my
And then obviously, like, it's weird when you do a rapping double because you don't, what are you going to do? You're going to write the rapping with the W and then the rapping underneath, but we know that I'm rapping on this track versus like wrapping it up with the lyrics.
I'll pass the music, I'm lit when I'm rapping to it. Breathe.
running, race against the clock.
And for me, like, the double of that, so what's interesting about this third verse, and I'll share a little tidbit, was that I sent Crooked Eye the first verse in the hook. And he loved the song so much, then he wrote that second verse. And to me, I always work off of gut instincts. After he wrote that second verse, and he talks about really valuing your time, right? And sort of manifest destiny and taking control of your situation. Because that's the greater theme for me from Crooked Eye. It's like, okay, I felt like we needed more synergy. So I went back and then wrote my third verse because I wanted to tie in some of his themes and elements. You know, I was looking at gentrification, at poverty, at the way systems are set up, at the violence in these streets. So I'm talking about a lot of those sort of issues and societal issues that I see and systematic issues, right? And then Crooked Eye is more, to me, his verse is more about the individual, isn't it? So how do we take me looking at this scope, this wider lens, and him looking at this scope? And for me, that third verse was my way of tying it all together. So tying in his themes of like, you know, reflecting on time. Time is an invention of man. So how do we value that, right? And how do we take back control of the clock? And then for me, with my cousin passing away and knowing that situation, like the realest music for me is always the true stories, isn't it? So I wanted to share that. I needed an outlet for it. His verse inspired me so much. I'm like, you know what? This is the track to do it on, because I wasn't sure how I'm going to speak on it, how I'm going to address it. And it just felt like this is the right place to talk about time, because what better time than when death happens? Because death really makes you appreciate how finite our existence in this world is and what really matters. And for my cousin, unfortunately, it was about the fentanyl overdose. It was about going to jail. It was about trying to clean up, trying to get his life right. And then he just had that one hit and that one fallback. And that was it, because that shit was laced. And it hits you different, doesn't it? He's still so fucking young, man. And, you know, I'm still processing it, right? But you start thinking about that. And then for me, how do I cope? My drug and my hit and my breathe that I'm rapping to it, I'm lit on this track. I'm using music to cope. And it's almost like I'm taking, you know, he couldn't cope with his situation and he turned to that. So I'm trying to deal with that while using my drug to cope with it and my way of bringing it all together. So that's kind of my thought process going into this third verse and how I approached it all.
Cooking up past the music, I'm lit when I'm rapping to it. Breathe.
I love those violent, just from some mob right there. Beautiful touch from him, just kicking back out into the hook.
Race against the clock, know my time is coming. Losing's one thing that I can't stomach. If it ain't first place, I don't want it. This can't be the best it gets. Quick to hush a hater or a pessimist. Voices in my head, but I won't let them win. It's my time and it's definite. I will never miss.
Why did I think that said Negro? It said Kxng Crooked. Why did I think that said Negro, bro? I read that way wrong. I said NGRO. I just skipped this C. Like that. I put an E in there myself. That's wild. He was spitting. He was spitting. They were both spitting, bro. That second verse, Knox's first verse, it was cool, you know. He said like he actually bodied the first verse. I'm not gonna lie, he did body the first verse. It went up and up and up and up. It did.
I feel like the best songs kind of do that, don't they? Like the first verse starts here, and then you just get better and you build from there. And the first verse for me was more about the message and kind of setting the scene and the stage for what is to come.
I like Knox's second verse more than I like Crooked's verse. I'm not gonna lie. I did like Crooked's verse though.
Wow.
But Knox's second verse, it hit. The message hit for me. You know what I mean?
Wow.
The message hit. While he's also spitting crazy, the message hit. That was nice. That was nice. Kxng Crooked over here, huh? Collabing with Knox and shit. Knox good and getting it in out here.
Thank you, Flaw.
That's wild. That was a good song, man. R.I.P., man. R.I.P. to everyone we lost, man, in all of this. Every year, it's like breaking its own record of how many people I know that have died from drug addiction or from the result of a drug addiction. You know, like you don't have to overdose, but living a life like that leading to your death. You know, it was almost me. It was almost me, man. It was almost me. That overdose changed my life. Mo found me, changed my life. Mo found me dead in her backyard. And from there, I was like, okay, I got to change my life. And luckily, I was able to follow through with it because a lot of people can't. Like, I'm an exception to the rule. The fact that I was able to bounce back from it. It's why I respect people. Like, I know a lot of people be like, oh, you think you're doing good just because you did something you weren't supposed to do and then somehow brought your life back to normal? What about the people who never succumbed to that? What about the people who never were stupid enough to fall into an addiction? And it's like, I don't think people like that get it. But adversity is adversity, bro. And being physically and mentally addicted to something and cutting that off and changing your life for the better is an accomplishment. I don't care what nobody says. And people who can see that happen and still continue on through their life, through all their struggles, like, gotta give respect to people, man. People who've been through it. We all know an addict, man. We all know an addict.
Wow. You know, knowing some of Flawed's story, right, and his struggles with fentanyl, like my cousin, this is why I wanted to sit down and watch. And, you know, just watching him and his eyes and the way he's looking and the way he sat and his posture, you could tell that verse is hitting a little different from him. And to me, that's the power of music, is that we can listen to music and then it takes us to these worlds and we put our own situations into the songs. And, you know, I'm humbled that Flawed decided to share a little bit of that story just based on the back of reacting to my song. But here's someone who did make it, someone who did overcome it. And I think that is the thing when you look at addicts and you look at situations, you know, is that we all get addicted to things. I think the human brain can so easily become addicted to social media, to chasing wealth, to chasing fame, to drinking, to drugs. Like we all have our addictions. We all have things that we get attached to because that's just human, and we're imperfect, and it's just biology. And I think unfortunately some people, you know, if you give them different circumstances and different situations, I don't think that they become addicted to certain drugs and to certain substances. You know, we're also products of our environments and our circumstances and just things that happen to us in life. And sometimes it's right place, right time, unfortunately, for, you know, that one hit and that one little mistake, because we are all human. And then that's it. And your life forever is altered and your life totally changes. And that's what happened to my cousin, you know, like his senior year, he throws out his arm, right? He's got to get surgery. He's trying to recover. He's trying to play through it. So he starts taking painkillers to deal with the pain, right? And we all know the oxy days and how that was just prescribed for people with something as simple as back pain and things like that, right? And all of a sudden, you have this strong as shit opioid, a narcotic, that they start getting addicted to. And before they realize it, before they can adjust and recalibrate, all of a sudden their body has developed this chemistry and this attachment to it. And it doesn't take away from who they are. It doesn't say anything less about them as a person. Their science has just changed now. So their decision-making and the things that they do change. And unfortunately, taking those painkillers in order to play through the pain led him down this path that fucking years later, man, it just took him from us. And it's heartbreaking. But, you know, thank you, Flawed, for sharing your story. And I'm so glad that you were found too. And I'm so glad that you're here to give us amazing music. I'm so glad that you're here to give us these dope-ass reactions. You know, and anyone out there who's going through it, you know, let this be a lesson. Please know that you do not suffer alone. And there is help out there. And there are people who care. And there are people who want to see you do well and to overcome your situation. Take care of yourselves.